Welcome to Behind the Veil. I'm Daphne. I will be your host and guide through the journey of weddings, faith, and marriage. Get ready to go behind the veil. Welcome back to Behind the Veil with Daphne. Today we have another special couple, as we always do. And today we have Diana and Deji. Welcome to Behind the Veil, guys.
Hello.
How you guys doing?
Hello. We are good.
Really well, thanks.
Lovely to have you guys here. You guys look so cute together.
Thanks.
You can already see the holding of the hands, showing us how it's done.
Thanks. We try.
Yeah, lovely. Thank you guys again for coming to share your story. I'm going to jump right into it. Okay, so take me back to your beginning. How did you guys meet? Your love story. How did we get to the point of marriage?
So, okay, so in terms of how we met, we actually met originally on Instagram.
Yeah.
So I was releasing gospel music. It was 2021. I released a song called Bow Down and promoted it on Instagram. And I remember getting a DM from this guy, like, saying, "Oh, I love this, song. It's my favorite song." I even think he sent me a voice note singing the song.
Wow.
Honestly, it was proper bigging it up. I said, "Oh wow, like, okay, this is all right."
Yeah.
I had a check of his page. I said, "Okay, he's good looking." Then I saw that he was really passionate about theology. He was really passionate about like the Bible, preaching the word of God. So I was like, this is the type of guy God wants me to marry. Like, I remember having that thought in my head. Yeah. So after about, I think it was 4 weeks of us speaking, Deji just disappeared. He actually ghosted me.
Okay.
I can see he's literally
He has a different story to tell. Yeah.
He literally ghosted me, like, out the blue, and I was like, wow, men are actually trash. That was the men are trash season and phase that everybody was sort of going through, and I said, no, forget this. Yeah. So I think it was about another year, and we still followed each other. So I was still seeing him post on his story, still seeing him post on the feed. So I would see what he was up to, and he was still the same, very, very, I would say, confident, outspoken man that he is, speaking about the Bible, even giving Christian rebukes. I've seen on the TL a few times as well.
Okay.
Very popular on Twitter, Mr. Jollof Rice. But so I feel like for me, I was still seeing him on the feed, but I was just like, nah, like.
Did you at any point like decide to message to see like, why have you dropped off the face of the earth? Like, you're not messaging. Okay. So were you like interested in him?
I was interested, but it was kind of too early to sort of be invested. And I feel like at the time, my mentality was just like very cutthroat. Yeah. So you're going to ghost me? Goodbye. Yeah. Like, it's either you ghost me or I block you. That was the type of singleness, I'm going to be honest, that I was kind of about. Yeah. And so if I felt like I wasn't experiencing what I deserved at a particular point, like a mental timeline, off I go. Like, I'm done with it. So I left that, and then he came back on my feed again, and he was doing a Bible study on Instagram Live. This is like sort of, COVID is sort of like, we're moving past it basically at this time. And I was like, wow, I really like this. So I just literally stumbled on it. You know when you open Instagram, you find yourself in the live. It was like that. And then I messaged him, and I was like, I messaged him in the chat to say, is this going to be saved later? And he said, yeah, it will. And then I think it popped up later on my feed, and he messaged me to be like, oh yeah, this is what I spoke about. And we just started speaking again from there. So that's how we kind of met. I guess it was on Instagram. And then about 3 weeks later, Deji called me, and it was so funny because he literally he didn't even say hello. He just got on the phone and was like, so today I've just been enjoying, I've just had some jollof rice, and I thought to myself, where's the pleasantries? Like, is he okay? Like, but he basically was like, yeah, I want to talk to you about something so serious. I'm like, what is it? And he goes, I'm interested in you, and basically I have the intention of wanting to date you, with the intention of wanting to get married, because I'm not dating for no other reason. Okay. And he made it clear, I don't want no more female friends. I've got enough female friends. I'm looking for a wife. And I was a bit like, oh my gosh, like, this is a bit like, whoa. But,
let me stop you there for a sec. Deji, where did you go?
So I didn't. So
how did you go?
I didn't ghost. I think at the time I was addicted to Clubhouse. Okay. Yes, this is when Clubhouse was popping. Yeah. And Diana wasn't as active on Clubhouse as I was. Okay. So it's not that I left. I guess it was just a misplacement of priorities. I was literally always on Clubhouse.
Yeah, that's true.
I'd, wake up in the morning, Clubhouse, break, at work, Clubhouse. As soon as I'm leaving work, Clubhouse, up until I fall asleep.
So were you doing, was it like you were joining conversations?
Yeah, I was just literally always finding myself in conversations. Yeah. So because Diana wasn't as active, so I think ghosting isn't the right word, but I was just, at that time, when I say addicted, literally Clubhouse. Yeah. So obviously it's not your fault. If Diana was as active on Clubhouse as myself, then I think I wouldn't have, I guess, quote unquote, disappeared. But the disappearance wasn't a disappearance. I just was addicted to this social media app. Yeah.
And when you had messaged her, was it just, I'm just complimenting your music? Or was like, I could see?
No, I liked what I saw, and I guess I used the music to be creative. Yeah.
Well done.
That.
Good job. Good job.
Okay. Yeah. Well, you were getting somewhere after.
Oh yeah, 3 weeks. He told me his intentions on the phone, and I just was like, you know what? Let's give it a go. And from then on, it was actually, sorry, I need to stop myself there. I said, let's see, basically, kind of like how far we get. But I basically told him, you can't make me your girlfriend without going to my pastor.
Okay.
And that was it. And that was always the condition from the beginning. I think the reason why I had that stipulation was because I had a really challenging experience being single. Like, I enjoyed my singleness, but I also it was really difficult for me. I think I made really poor choices when I was single. And so I just felt like I couldn't trust myself to make a good decision. So at this point I said, no, I'm doing this the right way. And in my church, if he was in church, he would go to my pastor. He's obviously not. He wasn't actually attending my church. He was in London. I was in Birmingham. But I was like, you're gonna go to my pastor, and he gonna vet you, and we're gonna move from there. And about, say, a month later, he was in Birmingham on a Sunday, and he met my pastor, and I think the same day he asked me to be his girlfriend. I said yes.
A man with intention. I love that, Deji. Okay, so you're saying once he messaged you, he said, you know, I'm interested in marriage. Did that scare you at all at any point? Or was that kind of like obviously we're Christian, was that something that you always thought, okay, the next person that I'm going to deal with will have to be someone that I marry? Was it when he said that, you know, I want marriage, I'm not looking for play, did that scare you at any point, or you're like, yeah, this is also what I'm looking for?
Yeah, I would say it 100% scared me. The reason why is because people who know me, during my single season, I always said I wanted a guy who was intentional. I wanted a guy who will tell me straight, we're going to be together, we're going to get married. And so after so many different experiences during my singleness where that didn't happen, where I was confused, where, you know, I was in situationships or whatever mess I found myself in, to have somebody after all of that heaviness and all of the broken promises and disappointments come and tell you exactly what you wanted to hear. I was like, this
can't be true.
This can't really be true. No. I remember even after that phone call speaking to my mum, asking her what she thought, and I don't really involve my mum in my love life at all. But I felt in my spirit that there was something about this man that was different. And so I was like, I really want to believe this, but there's a part of me that's like tugging. It kind of got to a point where I just kind of was like, I don't even know if I'm going to actually end up married because of the experiences that was happening. So it was difficult to kind of accept. It did take a bit of time.
And Deji, for yourself, was marriage something that you always thought of having, like, for yourself?
Oh, 100%. My parents have been married for 30 years now.
Okay.
So I think since I left university, that's something I've always been on.
Okay.
So I just never understood having multiple girlfriends or women or boyfriends. Just find one and spend the rest of your life. So that's definitely something
I love that.
Always wanted.
I love that. Okay, so obviously you guys have dated for how long?
About a year and a half.
Yeah, and a half at that point, and then you proposed, and we're now at the wedding planning stage. And I want to talk a little bit about, I guess, that wedding planning stage. How did you guys find it? Like, overall, like, if you were to, I don't know, have a word to describe what that experience was like, or a few words to describe what that experience was like, what would you say?
The first word, expensive.
Oh, that's
of course.
True.
Of course.
It's true. Exhausting.
Yeah.
Exhausting.
I think there were just a lot of things that happened. So unfortunately, my sister died earlier this year. But when I proposed, her health, it was stable, but it was still quite bad. Yeah. So she had a lung condition. So for the last 4 years of her life, she had to walk around with oxygen tanks. So we had decided to have the wedding in Birmingham just for financial reasons. Yeah. I didn't even think about, my sister's condition. And when I told my parents that we had booked a venue in Birmingham, they were very angry. So we booked that before I actually proposed. So that spreading the I guess that's one tip. Spread the cost of of your wedding. If you know that this is the person you're gonna marry, put as many deposits as possible. Yeah. But so that was the very first thing that we did, and from that point onwards, there was a lot of arguments.
It was a bit of a downhill spiral, I'd say, and I think the wedding planning process in a whole, for me personally, I would say I'm a type A person. Yeah. Organized. I like organization. Yeah. So there was a part of me that really and thoroughly enjoyed planning and watching what I'm planning come to life. Yeah. So I think for me, having what I planned and watching it play out, that was what I so craved. I so desired it. And so then to be faced with significant life-changing events and trauma in this journey, in this process, which altered that. I'm thinking A, B is gonna equal C, and now it doesn't look anything like that. It was extremely exhausting. So that's why I call it exhausting. Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna look we'll go deeper into some of the reasons as to why it was exhausting. But just thinking about, I know that you've probably thought about your wedding day and what you wanted to look like being a type A bride. And I don't know, Deji, if you had envisioned what your wedding day would look like. What was it that you guys were hoping for your wedding process and the day itself to look like?
I wanted it to be as big as possible.
Okay.
I definitely could have easily I could have easily myself maybe invited 300 to 500 people.
Wow.
Just by himself.
Yeah.
Just by himself.
Wow.
So I obviously wanted it to look really nice. Yeah. I think I would like to say Dan and I were on similar pages. I think the only difference is the size. I wanted a massive, as I said, massive wedding. The more the merrier, so to speak. Whereas I think
is it that you know a lot of people and you wanted all of them to be a part of? Why was that important for you?
Yeah, I think a few reasons. So I guess I've met quite a few people along the way of secondary school and been to quite a few churches. So I'd obviously like to see them enjoy it with me. My parents also are very, I guess, popular in their church, so they had a lot of friends and they'd like to invite. But ultimately, I wanted to make a statement this is my wife. The enemies must know.
Yeah. About the enemies.
My enemies
He means it.
My enemies must know I'm married.
Yeah. He means it. I remember when we were discussing the what's it called? The size of the wedding. We said, okay, I was like, Deji, let's get a number down. How many people you think? And he was saying numbers and stuff like that. And I said, Deji, but what? Why this amount? Yeah. My enemies must know. All my exes must see. I am married. I am happy. So fair enough. For him, it was a statement. It was a statement. Whereas on my side, I think for me, what I envisioned was luxury. I just wanted luxury. It didn't matter to me if it was 300 people or if it was 100 people. I just wanted luxury. And what I soon realized after crunching numbers is you want luxury, you can't have many people.
Something's got to give.
Something's got to give. So we had a lot of back and forths about what about this and how many, because I think originally we said 200.
Yeah.
Because that's actually what we booked the venue for before. Okay. We booked it for 200. Then we said, all right, let's do 250. Yeah. Okay, and then it went to 280. Yeah. And then it got to 300. Yeah. And then we done the numbers and we invited 350 or 350, 370, somewhere there as a final number of who we invited. And I was just how did we get here? So, and for some, that's not even that big of a wedding.
Of course, but I'd say it's fairly, out of that 350, I think about 300 people came.
Yeah. It was a beautiful experience, but I will say, I envisioned a smaller type of wedding. Okay. Still nice. Yeah. And still with vendors that I really, really wanted. And my friend got married. She had a beautiful wedding, and I remember her best advice was book your vendors early. If you want a specific vendor, book them early. So for me, the priority was 2024 hits. We're booking all the vendors now. We'll have a provisional date, and we're gonna book them. Was that the wisest decision? I think I still stand by it.
Yeah, it made sense.
But it definitely caused a lot of
problems. Okay, I just want to ask, how did you guys? So for example, Deji, you're saying that you wanted to have this massive wedding, and then you kind of envisioned something more luxury. How did you guys come to a middle ground? Like, what were some of the conversations that you had, and how did you kind of navigate that, just to help people who might be at odds about what they want?
So, I say this at the same time of planning a wedding, I also wanted to move out and buy a house. So I guess we wanted to buy a house.
More so him. I wanted the wedding.
Okay.
So because we had started putting things, or because we started paying for things before I'd proposed to Diana, I was able to spread out the cost. We were able to spread out the cost of the wedding. And also, by the grace of God, move into a place in Birmingham. So I think Diana was able to sit me down and saying, Deji, you want this massive wedding, which is fine, but you've also told me you want to buy a house. So which one is more important? And I said, obviously, a house is much more important. Well, there you go. So I think because she was reminded me of that, that allowed me to happily be comfortable with downsizing the wedding guest. So
I think you know, Deji had put himself in a position, like, financially, where he whether I wasn't involved in his life or not, he was gonna buy that house. So he had that planned out, and I feel like that was something that he when we got together in the relationship, that's what he brought with him, that I want to buy a house. And as much as he was like, oh yeah, but I want a big wedding, I told, you know, like he said, I said, okay, this is how much it's going to cost. This is the deposit. This is how much, you know, moving in is going to cost. All these fees. This is the number, and this is how much a wedding is going to cost. So we got to crunch some numbers here and do some stuff. So we just came to a point of compromise, and all I can say, and all I would advise other couples to do, is just look at your finances. And let's just keep it simple. Look at your finances and work within your means.
And it will tell you
it will tell you exactly what you can do, and it will tell you exactly what you can't do. And don't mess on that budget. You choose that budget, you decide, you stick to that budget, because there are other things that do matter after you get married. That's the reality. There are other things that do matter.
Thank you. Okay, so let's get into some of, I guess, the difficulties and things that happened during the wedding planning process that made it a little bit difficult. Deji, you mentioned that you guys already booked your venue before the proposal even happened. And that already kickstarted what would then become, I guess, a chain of events. That would put you guys in a bit of a unpleasant place. What was, like, some of the early signs that things were going to be, like, really hard when it came to planning the wedding?
I think they were just unhappy that, you know, this was going to be happening in Birmingham. I didn't consult them. The date, you know, Dan and I chose a date. We didn't consult them about that. They didn't. Them
being your family or parents.
No, parents. They didn't feel involved or as involved as they would have liked to have been. And then there was food. My parents were very adamant that there must be, you know, Nigerian food. Very adamant, you know. But we looked at the numbers, as Diana said. We had about 300 guests to have Nigerian food just for catering. You're looking at £10,000. It's just like, I'm not spending £10,000 to feed. I'm not gonna. And then once you spend that £10,000 on food, they're gonna take all. So I can't even take any of it with me. So it just didn't make sense, and I don't think they were seeing it, because up until last minute, I didn't really see the contribution, but there were a lot of people were making these or having these expectations. It's like, you know, everyone's entitled to their opinion, but when it comes to wedding, if you don't pay for something, then your opinion's just an opinion.
I think that's always, like, the hard part. But I also want to just talk about I think this is something that a lot of people deal with in terms of families. So just to clarify, you are Nigerian, you are Tanzanian. So there's two cultures here at work. And I think most African people, should I say, they have this thing of, you know, we must sit down as a family and we're all going to decide what this wedding is going to look like. But were you guys aware that this was an expectation? Or were you kind of just thinking, we're just thinking of what will be best for us, we're trying to make sure that we save money and...
Exactly, I know it was an expectation. I know, as you said, I think most, not even most, I think most parents would want that. And I think in an ideal world, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But because we wanted to have this wedding, and also at the same, whilst we were planning this wedding, we were also trying to get a house in Birmingham, and our conveyancer, I have so many stories to say about that, but it wasn't the smoothest process. There were a lot of bumps, and they were just taking fees left, right, and centre. So you know, thankfully I was able to get the place before we got married, which is great. But because we were trying to get a house and plan for a wedding, money was just very, very, I was trying to be as economical as possible. I couldn't even spend £1. You know, £1 couldn't go unaccounted for. So but I don't think, and I tried to tell my parents that. I think they somewhat understood, but they saw this wedding as a reflection of themselves.
So was there an expectation of, were you planning on having a traditional wedding as well as a white wedding?
No. We weren't. No. I would say in terms of expectation, and just going back to your last question, I don't think I knew it was an expectation to sit down and discuss it and make a date, because it just wasn't something I'd seen in my culture. It's kind of like, oh yeah, this is the date we're planning, and that's it. Everybody took it. You know, my uncle, my mum, my uncle who represents like my dad, they were just like, yeah, okay, this is the day, okay.
Yeah.
But, you know, when it came to Deji's parents, they were like, who decided this date? And I was really shocked with that response and reaction. I understand it 100% now in hindsight, because I understand where they were coming from. They wanted to be involved, but I thought in my head, guys, we thought this through. We're taking a load off of you. Guys, we thought this through. We've literally got this package. We've got this. We're saving money, guys. It's going to be fine. But they did not see it that way. So I feel like when it came down to the trad, and this links into what I'm about to say, you know, when they expressed their, you know, dissatisfaction about what we had done, I think the compromise is the better word. Is that we would then have our Birmingham wedding, and that we would be allowed to have it the way that we wanted it to be if we had a traditional wedding in London. That basically we had nothing to do with.
Okay, so you were a guest of honours for the traditional wedding.
Basically. And that's how it was set out initially. It didn't exactly turn out that way.
No, it didn't.
Okay, so with the idea of having like, did you guys accept? Did you think, okay, this would be like the best way to make things work for us to have our wedding in Birmingham and then allow the parents to deal with the trad? Does that mean that they have to pay for the trad and everything? So you guys are actually hands off.
So we accepted it. They said that they would take responsibility for it, and we said okay. And we just kind of took a step back, but that wasn't how it played out, and we ended up having to plan our traditional and, you know, basically contribute and pay for our traditional with the support of my family. I will say my family did really do a lot for me and Deji. They covered a lot of costs, and relatives, family members, family friends came, cooked free of charge. You know, like we had.
It was a whole community thing.
It was a community thing, but that was not the way it was pitched to us, and that was really difficult for me to comprehend. Deji didn't want it in the first place. I was kind of like, oh, I kind of want a traditional because it's about the woman, it's about her culture, and I felt like this was a time for me to get in touch with my Tanzanian culture. But then it was kind of like, okay, well, is it going to be a Tanzanian traditional? Is it going to be a Nigerian traditional? We don't really know, you know, but the reality was it needed to be a Tanzanian one. So, you know, it became our responsibility and we had to take on.
Okay, so I'm hearing quite a bit about Deji, your family, your side of the family having their reservations about certain things. How did that, in terms of, because I can imagine like the friction because you're trying to protect your woman, make sure that she's not too involved, and you know, they're looking at her sideways thinking that this is all her idea and all of that stuff. How did you deal with, you know, making sure that she feels protected, safe, and feel like you're handling your side of things?
I think every time I tried to speak to my parents, I made it clear it was my decision. So obviously the Bible says a man's the head of the household and all of that, but I think with in-laws, they only know the son or daughter married into the family from what you tell them.
Yeah.
So I knew if I had spoken to them and made it appear that Diana was making all these decisions, then they wouldn't have any respect for Diana. Well, okay, let me not say that, but they would look at Diana as this conniving woman who's trying to take our son away from us. Yeah. When in actual fact, you know, of course I can't do anything without Diana agreeing on it, but at the same time, it's time for me to, you know, leave the house. Like I only left the house when in January this year, so I'm 29. So from the day I was born to 29, I've been able to live at my parents' house, which definitely has its drawbacks, but also has its benefits. If I didn't, then I wouldn't have been able to save for a deposit in the house. So like that was fantastic. But because I was still living at the house, it definitely affected our relationship. There were arguments just over little things like who was going to be sorting out our traditional wear. Obviously I've spoken about food, the guest list, what else was there? You know, they all, every 2 days my parents would ask me, is this person on the list? Did you make sure you sent this person? And it's like, I'm just trying to relax. Even when I didn't even want to do any wedding planning. Yeah. You know. You're
bombarded.
Yeah, and there's nowhere I can go because I was living at home. Yeah. But to answer your question, I would frequently call Diana to tell her how I was feeling. Yeah. And, you know, I still, you know, we still made, even though we lived in different cities, we still made time for dates. Yeah. We were on the phone literally every day. Would fall asleep on the phone. So, yeah.
And Diana, how did that, I guess the expectations that your in-laws have and what you guys had envisioned for your own wedding, like how did it make you feel when they were, you know, bringing their own things into the mix?
I think such a complicated question. I think I had to reason in my own mind and not take it personal, because I very much took it very personal. Yeah. It felt like a lot of control was trying to be asserted, when in my mind it's like, I'm an adult, he's an adult, we can make adult decisions. But then I slowly understood that in his culture, you're not an adult till you get married and till you're actually out of your parents' house. Like literally, you're not an adult till you get married and you leave your parents' house, which is something I learned later. But I couldn't fathom, like, why is this even a conversation? Like, why is this even a question? Like, these decisions aren't bad. These decisions aren't to hurt nobody. And even if we have made poor decisions, which, you know, me and Deji both agree, we could have really thought about Birmingham as a location, considering our family situation relating to our sister and how poorly she was. But at the same time, like I said, these decisions weren't to hurt anybody, and it just felt like an attack. It was really difficult because, you know, Deji's the middle person. And we had to seek counsel. We sought counsel from our pastor. And our pastor gave us really good advice and was a really helpful middle person. But, you know, I'm hearing everything from Deji, and it's like, if Deji comes off with an argument with his parents and he starts telling me what his parents are saying, I'm thinking, like, what do they think of me? What do they think of this? And so it felt very tormenting during that time, because I've got so many feelings about how things are being portrayed, what's being said, but at the same time, I have to impress my in-laws because I'm a traditional African woman and I can't be seen as making decisions and I cannot be seen as assertive, even though that is a part of my personality, I must say. I cannot be seen as overly confident. I have to be seen as this very gentle, meek person, which is an element of who I am as a woman, as a godly woman, but also like, you know, it's kind of like I'm on eggshells, walking on eggshells. It's probably the best way. And I think that was really difficult for me personally. But I know that they didn't have any malice or bad intentions for it. It's just, this was their firstborn son. They probably envisioned what their day would look like. And in that moment, it was my vision over theirs. And I'm just like, can you not see my vision? Like, I've dreamt of this my whole life.
I think that's always going to be like a hard thing that people have to deal with. Because I think... literally every couple that I've sat down with, every person that has gotten married that I've had conversations with, they mention the fact that there's always like contention when it comes to family. They want these things and, you know, and you're just trying to, I just want to have my wedding. Yeah. Like, what's happening? So were you guys able to have, between yourselves, was it in any way affecting you guys' relationship? Or like, how did you make sure, if it was affecting your relationship, how? And if not, how did you make sure that it wasn't like something that caused a rift within the relationship? Because I know that could be really hard on the relationship itself.
I think it did a little bit. But what I was able to do is just remind Diana that this is something that near enough every family or every person goes through. And ultimately, what I did is, or what I tried to encourage Diana is, what your parents, what your family say, that isn't a reflection of you. So if I'm angry at something your mum has said or your uncle has said or your brother has said, I'm going to direct my anger at them, not you, and vice versa. As I said, in addition to that, we still had date nights. I still was able to get, or at least I'd like to believe, get some thoughtful gifts for Diana. So although it affected the relationship, but at the same time, I tried to maintain some form of normalcy, or else I would have lost my hair.
So he's the level-headed one, I think, between us both. I was like, I was like, and there were points I was like, you know, like, come on. And he just would remind me that everyone's entitled, it's this phrase, everyone's entitled to their opinion. Does not mean you have to listen to it, does not mean you have to do anything about it, but everyone's entitled to it. You have to learn to just, okay, that's your opinion, thank you, all right, and that's it. I don't have to, you know, sponge all of that in and digest it. And so I think he did a really good job of trying to keep me at bay, keep me calm. And we spent a lot more time together and just random nights where we weren't wedding planning. You know, that was what really helped us.
That's always encouraged. So at this point in time, like, where would you say your relationship with God is? Is God involved in you guys' wedding planning process? Through everything that's happening, like, where is your relationship with God? Where are you turning to Him? I know you said that you got your pastor involved in helping with some of the family issues, but like, where is your head at this point in your walk with God?
I think God is always involved has always been involved in our relationship. I feel like He's had His hand over it, because I always knew, and I believe God spoke to me when I was very young to say that when I do get married, that God will use my marriage. And so I knew I was going to marry someone who was really special. And so once Deji came around, I knew that this was the person. Once I got over my fears, I knew that this was the one for me. But what I would say is God was in every stage of it. We had prayer. We had an amazing bridal team. Honestly, I cannot thank God for their lives enough, because when we could not utter words, they were praying. So we had prayer on a regular basis to just touch base with God about what was happening. And obviously between us two, we would have prayer ourselves daily, because it was, you know, when you're just facing something that's so challenging. It's literally pushing you into anger, and we don't want to push ourselves into sin. There's just no other space but to pray. It has to be speaking to God. So God was in all of it, but I think it became really difficult. I can't speak for you, but I'll speak for myself. For me, me and my relationship with God became very difficult when Deji's sister passed away. It became extremely difficult because I remember having a thought in December 2024 when she became sick. Oh, what if she doesn't make it? And I thought, I rebuke this. I was like, I rebuke this. This is a stupid thought. How can I even think this? And I left it. And the day before she passed away, she passed away, I remember Deji telling me like where she was at with her health. And I remember praying, God and Jesus, I was praying hard. I was literally saying, God, you're going to heal her. There was no way in my mind that she wasn't going to be there. And so when she passed away, not only is Deji absolutely unconsolable because his best friend has passed away, but I've lost my friend, and we had a really close relationship. I've lost my friend. I don't even know how to process that. That's one. Two, I can't even believe this is my story. So God, what have you done here? This is just my genuine thoughts and my genuine feelings of God, what have you done? That's actually how I looked at it. What have you done to my life? Why is this my story? I had seen so many people get married before me, and none of them have this story. None of them have this experience. Why is this happening to me? And it was really difficult because I hate thinking like that, because I hated feeling selfish for the fact that I knew my wedding was going to be completely affected. But this one moment that which is all I've asked for. I've been through the trenches of singleness. Not saying singleness is trenches, but I had poor experiences in my singleness. I finally found a guy, the one that you said, Lord, that we were gonna, you're gonna use our marriage. The one that is actually saved. He's born again. He loves the Lord. He wants to preach the word of God. And this is what is this? So for me, from that point, it was so difficult for my relationship with God. It was rocked to a whole nother degree. To where I was thinking, oh my gosh, like, can I make it as a Christian? Basically, that's where I was at. I was like, can I make it as a Christian? And that went on for a little bit. Because I was just so disappointed. So
Okay, so let's go more into the death of your sister and how that kind of also impacted the season of life that you were in. So you had lost her before. So what was kind of like the timeline for when you planned your wedding? Did you then consider, how you said at first you booked the venue, you didn't even think about your sister's health being a problem?
So that was obviously a massive oversight. I was just trying to save as much money as possible. So even my sister, God rest her soul, came and told me, like, when you booked this, you didn't even think about me. Which is true, I actually didn't. I don't know how, but my mind just completely went blank. So as I said, she'd had this there were several things. But she got diagnosed on the day she graduated in July 2021. So from then to December 2024, she'd been using oxygen tanks. Now, it was in December 2024 where she was rushed to hospital, and her health literally just took a turn for the worse. So she came out of hospital in January 2025, but everything was just different. Like, to go up the stairs, to go up a flight of stairs probably take her like an hour. Just breathing even heavier. And on the 26th of January this year, she unfortunately passed away. So we initially had our date for the 29th of March, but because of that, we then had to we had our civil ceremony on the 29th of March, but we had to postpone our white wedding to the 7th of June. So obviously that planning a funeral, as well as planning a wedding, paying for a funeral, as well as paying for a wedding. Like, thankfully, we did have a lot of help. People were really generous in the funeral donations. So honestly, we cannot thank everyone that reached out enough. But emotionally, aside from financially, emotionally and mentally, I've just never seen my parents like that. I couldn't imagine burying your son or daughter. So
Yeah, it was really difficult. I think we had our traditional planned in February, so that obviously was postponed. That was a no-brainer.
Yeah.
There was loads of back and forth about whether or not we were going to postpone the 29th.
Yeah.
Which would have been the civil.
So the civil was actually the week before on the 15th. Oh, okay. The 29th was going to be the big wedding.
Okay.
And so we were like, okay, what should we do? Our in-laws were kind of like, so one thing Eben said, this girl, sorry, one thing she said was, regardless of anything, whether I'm there or not, get married. That's what she told her mum. That's what she told everybody. Like, if you spoke to her, regardless of I'm there or not, you get married. And so for that, Deji's parents were like, everyone would be happy if you're not married. She wouldn't be. Yeah. But then it was also like, this is like not the right time to get married. Yeah. So what do we do? What do you do? Yeah. And so I remember we sat for some counsel with our pastor, and he just basically told us plainly, don't let your wedding stop your marriage. Go and get married. Go and honor God. Go and get married. Yeah. And so we decided we would get married on the 29th. Have a very small, intimate ceremony with our closest family and friends, and then we just carry on with our life. And that's what we decided in the end. But that was the sequence of events, and it was hard. It was hard to send that message out. It was hard to send that message out to say, number one, the wedding's been postponed, but secondly, to say what happened, because of course it's unimaginable and people have questions. And I remember it was really difficult because despite us going through that grief and that loss, and I know Deji speaks about how difficult it was for him to see his parents. It was absolutely so difficult to see the man I love grieving. It was awful, to say the least. It was so awful. It was so hard because I knew how much he loved his sister. But also there was, unfortunately, some inconsideration during that time from our wedding guests. Really? Yeah. So people would still ask. I think it was, people started to find out the information about Evan's passing, and people, can I please bring a +1? Can I please bring
Excuse me?
Yeah.
So what does that mean?
We don't talk about it much because I think we don't give it too much thought, because otherwise we would just go mad.
So was it that you sent out a mass message to say we're postponing for the fact that we have lost our sister? So was it like literally plain? Yeah, it was plain as day. This is what happened. She passed away on this day. Please, keep us in your prayers, and we'll let you know when we roughly. And I think we even gave out a new date as well when we sent out the message for our new wedding date, which we decided amongst ourselves. But it was still those conversations of the wedding. That's insane.
And that was really difficult. And that was really difficult. That's when we had to try and put our big Christian pants on and just say, you know what? Let's just give some grace here. Let's give some grace here and not take it personal. But it was so difficult.
Deji, where was your in at that point, like your relationship with God? Did it have any knock-on effect? Thinking, okay, I mean, I don't think you thought that you were going to lose your sister, and at the time that you were getting married, what was that like for you?
So thankfully, no one was asking me for +1s. They were asking Diana, because if they'd asked me, I don't know how I would have responded. But no, I was able to, as Diana said, the bridal party were amazing. I had a couple of groomsmen, Marcus in particular, who was very close and was giving me wise counsel. So I think God can speak to people via many different means, and God can speak to people through other human beings. So Marcus, if you're watching this, God bless you. Thank you for your life. So I think after I left university, I understood that as painful as it is, because bad things happen, that doesn't stop God from being good. Could God have healed Ebon? 100%. Why he didn't, I don't know, but he's still God. So that's something I made peace with way before Ebon died. That's something I guess been able to digest. And she's no longer in any pain now. So that disease was very painful. I couldn't. So
I think Deji used his faith as a comfort.
Yeah.
And so did his parents.
Yeah.
If I'm honest, the way that they went through that loss and the way that they were grieving and still are grieving, they hold on to God like this. And I think it's such a great example. And I started to look at them differently actually during this time. Such a great example, of their marriage and of the family setup that they had. You know, Deji and his family were doing Bible study every Saturday. They all knew the word. They all knew the word of God.
Yeah.
And I remember even Deji's mom was talking about how when Eben passed away, she said, "You are gonna say that salvation prayer again and again and again and again and again because you will be making it to heaven." But she already knew. Eben already knew where she was going because she had a revelation of God. She gave her life to Christ. She was a Christian, and she believed that Jesus died for her sins. So I think Deji, his mom, his dad, his brother, they really held on to their faith. And even I looked at him sometimes and was like, "The heck, are you alright? Are you normal? Our life is just flipped turned upside down." And actually, because he was that way and because he was sturdy in his faith, I was able to recalibrate myself. I was able to go, if this man can still rely on God for comfort, can still know that God is good, then I better believe it. Because he's going through a really difficult time. Same with his parents. And they are still calling on God's name. And they're still praising God, still singing his praises every single day. There's absolutely no way I can just abandon my faith now. So, I really admired you for that, by the way.
No, it's amazing. It's amazing to have that. I think it's a really difficult thing to go through. And I think, as you were saying, you were angry with God, the fact that you just wanted to have this dream wedding and then there's all of these things happening. And you were inspired by his faith. Was there anything else that helped you to get back to a place where you're like, you know what, God, it's okay. This is how you wanted things to be, then that's fine. I'm okay with it, and I will go on to still have a beautiful wedding, and our relationship will not be over. Essentially, how did you? What were the things that helped you?
I think what helped me the most was, for me, when me and God have issues, we have problems. I'm so mute, but then I become creative, so I write. Okay. So I actually wrote a song. I wrote a song about what was going on in my life, and I wrote a song about Eben and this odd period in time. Yeah. And it was inspired by Ezekiel 37, you know, it talks about dry bones will live again. Yeah. And that's my favourite scripture, I love it. But what I realised was that, you know, dry bones, these times are so dry, they are so dire. But God can breathe life back into the situation. He can breathe life back into me. And he's just so gracious that even no matter how far I even try to run, he will still come running back for me. Like he will leave the 99 just to find me. So I think I recognize that the same way he's my father, he will sort for me, he will look for me. He's the same father for Eben. That actually when he chose to take her, he chose to take her because that was the right thing for a father to do for his daughter in that time. Because she needed to be released from what she was facing. And because I was writing songs, because I was ministering songs. I remember my pastor asked me to minister the song. And I was just like, I'm going through it. Why are you asking me this? But I realised it was because actually God needed to do something in me. And once I ministered that song, I felt like, all right, God, I know. And I know that I'm not going to abandon you because you won't abandon me. You haven't. So let's just go back to the drawing board here. And let's just remember who you are. And you are the ultimate being. And who am I? Just the mere mortal.
That's amazing. It's so crazy that, you know, God is able to use every situation to show himself and to show like a new side of him that you may have not even known. So what did that period, so the death happened, what did that look like for you guys moving forward with wedding planning? Like what came after that?
It was just a lot of, I guess, there was a lot of obviously uncertainty on more so the dates. Okay. So we had to have quite a lot of begging and pleading with vendors. So they were quite helpful.
I think all of our vendors were helpful. We had an amazing coordinator. At CTY Events, Shalom, I just have to shout them out because we didn't, she did all of that. We just said, this is what's happened. She said, leave it with me.
Yeah.
That's it. And she took it on board. And that wasn't part of her role. She literally did not have to do that. But she was such a caring coordinator. God bless her, because she went above and beyond. Yeah. So once we had a new date and we were sure about it, she pretty much sorted that out for us. So we don't even know. Yeah. That's the truth. All we know is that the vendors all showed up on the day. And she managed to get them all to agree to it, and they managed to be available on that new day. Yeah. So
thank God. No, it's good to have people in your corner, and it's a good thing that you had, a coordinator who was able to take that on, because I can't imagine like having to sit there and write, emails to every vendor whilst you're also grieving and so you still ended up having your traditional. You mentioned that you guys had to
I forgot about that.
No, it was enjoyable.
We did.
You did. So you did like a fusion. Was it a fusion or was it more kind of Tanzanian?
It was more so Tanzanian in terms of ceremony, but we had a change in outfit, because I remember my in-laws before everything happened telling us, you need to change your outfit, you need to. So, do you remember? So we had that, and they were happy, and you know what? They were so happy. Yeah. Everybody was so happy. We weren't sure if they were going to be able to make it. Mm-hmm. I think it was only up until about a week before, but they came, and I'm just so grateful that they did. Yeah. Was this due to the loss? I think it was just too much. And I think in their culture, they're not really supposed to go to celebrations or something like that. What was it?
No, so it's like they don't go to funerals. If they bury their child, they're not Nigerian parents won't attend the funeral.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. That's interesting. It's more so in Nigeria. I mean, in this country, because it depends on how traditional you are. But yeah.
But we still had it, and it was absolutely a great time. Yeah. It was a great time.
And then of course you had your white wedding as well. How was that?
The white wedding. It was a good day. That was fun. It was a good day. It was fun. It went smooth. Obviously natural hiccups. That's just a part of it.
Part of the day.
But it was smooth. It was a really good time.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Deji was hogging the photographer in the morning.
That's not true.
It is true, because when I wanted my robe shot,
he loves a good photo op.
Deji loves a good camera. It's okay. It's okay. Don't be shy.
No, I love that. So you had a fantastic wedding, and you're now married, and you're enjoying married life, I presume. How's that going for you? Would you guys recommend?
Oh, absolutely.
Even through the hiccups of planning?
10 out of 10. Yeah. There's just nothing like going to sleep next to your best friends.
Absolutely.
Do you know what I mean? When you have, I'm sure you have this with your own husband. You and Kiki Kaka in the night, and you're thinking, can the neighbours hear us laughing this hard? Honestly. Can the neighbours? The wedding was honestly fantastic. It was everything I think I dreamed of and more. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So although I didn't want a massive wedding, it was a big wedding. It was big, I'm happy that we did end up having it the way that we did. And also, I think married life. I just think because of the experience we had, it feels breathable. Feels like we are exhale. Feels right. It feels like okay, we went through a lot, but it was absolutely all worth it. What do you think?
No, I completely agree. The wedding was amazing. I don't think I changed anything. There were so many vendors. We even had a pancake. That I didn't even realize.
It. I was so sad. So sad.
That's the thing, isn't it? The day goes and there's so many things happening that you forget.
I was on the stage, people giving speeches, and I looked across the stage. I was like, "Oh, we got a pancake."
So, did we pay for that?
Yeah.
No, honestly, we do think about it a lot. And one thing we didn't have. We just have to advise: take photos with your guests, man. We didn't do that. We forgot to go round because the night just ended up doing its own thing as it does. But take pictures with your guests because you want those pictures. Yeah, absolutely. It's a lot of pictures though. Oh
it is.
I did it for an hour and I said I don't want to do it.
Don't want to do it anymore.
And the photographer was like, "Come on, Dan, just smile."
But you know what? That's what you will have left at the end of it, because I'm sure you're enjoying going back through the pictures and all of that stuff. No, that's amazing. So finally, what encouragement would you give to people that are planning their wedding and they're going through quite a few pressures? So you guys have had pressures from family. You've had the death of your sister, and I'm sure you were just going through a lot mentally you had a dream of what you wanted your wedding to look like. You didn't think that the process would include, you know, other things that came to overtake and all of that stuff. What would you advise people who are going through a lot of pressure?
The wedding is day one of the marriage. Now, obviously, it depends on what you want your wedding to look like. But you want to be able to, I guess, set yourself up right in the best foundation for your marriage. Your wife or husband is now the most important person in your life. So your parents have all, you know, they can have all the opinions in the world. If they're not paying for it, you just keep that opinion as an opinion. Now, of course, we have social media, and there's nothing wrong with having a big wedding, a gigantic wedding, if you can afford it. I think the problem, unfortunately, is because of social media, people will get themselves into financial hardships to impress. And then once the day's done, 2 weeks, 3 weeks later, no one's going to remember that the jollof rice was sensational. Literally. You know, so because I had lived in my parents' house up until 29, I was thankfully able to, or we were thankfully able, and I thank God we were able to have, I guess, a relatively big wedding and also buy a house. But that came from years of planning, even before I met Diana, and paying for things before I even proposed. So I think, as Diana said, know your budget. Don't get enticed by social media, and make sure you and your soon-to-be wife, soon-to-be husband are on the same page. You know, he is now the most important person in your life. So they now take the priority over everyone else. So,
I love that. That was great advice. I think just even to echo what you're saying, respect your parents. Respect your parents. Respect doesn't always mean you comply with their demands. But respect them. Even when you are saying no, give them an explanation. Talk to them in their face to face. Because over the phone, text message is a bad idea. Don't do it. We've learned from it. Do not do it. Talk to them face to face. Respect your parents. And also, when you are communicating, have someone who will voice your opinion and voice your view. Because as Africans, like you said, they love a family meeting. They love to get together. But there's no point if they will just talk amongst themselves. You need someone who will actually vouch for you and mediate the situation, who will take your views into consideration. And so definitely do that. And finally, pray. For all intending couples, all engaged couples, pray hard, because the enemy hates marriage and he's doing everything to stop people from becoming married. Literally, he can make people like literally tear themselves apart for no reason, tear families apart for no reason. It is just one day, and like Deji said, it's only day one. So that's all I would give.
Fabulous. I've got one bonus extra question. I'm intrigued. Deji, starting with you. What did preparation for marriage look like for you? Speak to the guys. Like, what are some of the things that you recommend doing, or things that you have done to kind of make yourself, because I think also there's this thing of like preparation. I don't know how prepared you can really be until you are, but I think there may be some things that you can learn along the way to make sure that you're well equipped as you're stepping in. And then Diana, will be the same for you. Speak to the ladies.
I think first things first, don't date someone unless you see yourself marrying them. Because the more relationships you have, the more turmoil, the more baggage, the more unhealthy comparisons, you know, the more trauma. So this whole casual dating has just ruined, society. So I think, one, if you're going to date someone, you should have the intention to marry that individual. Two, such a good question. It's a very good question. I think one of the things that I did, I had to, I guess, detox some of what I was doing on my social media. Okay. So there was some, how do I put this? Interesting videos that will pop up on my on my feed, and there was a time I think Diana saw my saw my Instagram feed, and I was just like, why are there so many women there? So that obviously caused a bit of concern.
Yeah.
So I mean, now if you look at my time feed, it's
the gym.
It's like now she might be because you see some topless men,
the gym.
You know, lifting weights, which might cause her to raise some eyebrows, but obviously you are what you consume, and if you don't deal with lust before marriage, it's gonna get what anything that you do or don't do before marriage, it's just gonna get exemplified, within marriage. Now, obviously, the Bible says no sex outside of marriage. Unfortunately, marriage doesn't cure lust. It's a very good defense mechanism, but obviously, in marriage, some people commit adultery. So you have to do everything within your power to, if you can't remain abstinent, or if you can't clean your eyes when you're single, then when you get married, the temptation will probably be even 10 times worse, because I think women, when a man is married, they even get more. If a man's in a long-term relationship / marriage, they become more attractive. So I guess that would be the second thing. I guess the third thing, just continue to add value to yourself, so whether that be traveling the world, looking as nice as possible, dressing as nice as possible, being as economically savvy as possible. I love you very much, but women are not cheap. Do you understand? Like the proposal, the ring, the gifts that, women of these days like, they don't like. I like going to Nando's, but you can't take a woman to Nando's these days, unfortunately.
Nando's? What are you trying to say?
I mean, within reason.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You see. So no, I think there are certain attributes that women like, and I think biblically it is good to be a provider. So I'm not saying that you need to be a multi-millionaire or you have to be very wealthy today, but I do think financial stability is important, and it's also attractive. I don't think any woman would want to be with a man that's financially unstable, and she shouldn't. So you want to do everything you can to make yourself, I guess, as physically, emotionally, and spiritually appealing, because of Instagram, women have so many options. So it's not essential. I don't. It's not a bad thing. You're very beautiful. So I'm sure there were loads of other men, but you have to, in this day and age, do everything you can to stand out. So yeah, and lastly, all marriage advice, relationship advice, make sure it's biblical based. Since the pandemic, we've seen a deluge of these high value men, high value women, dating podcasts that will give you all sorts of nonsense that just doesn't even make sense. The only relationship advice I took, Ephesians 5:25, husbands, love your wives as Christ loved the church. What does that mean? How can I love my wife or my future wife as Christ loved the church? What does it mean to love your wife as Christ loved the church? Paul's using a simile. So the same way Jesus loved the church is the same way a man ought to love his wife, which means a man has to lead his wife. Jesus led the church. A man has to, serve his wife physically and metaphorically. Jesus washed the feet of his disciples. So metaphorically and sometimes physically, a man ought to wash his wife's feet. And lastly, Jesus sacrificed himself for his wife. So, mandem, I don't know if you're going to like this, but if you're not willing to sacrifice your life, your physical life for your wife, then, you're not ready to get married. So, yeah.
Word.
How am I supposed to follow on from that?
Yeah. I mean, he was talking to the guys. Now you're talking to the ladies.
This is why I married him. This is what it was. That was on Instagram. I said, this is the kind of guy the Lord wants me to marry. Okay, to the ladies, Oh, I don't even know where to start or what to say, but I'll try and keep it short and sweet. Firstly, if you want to be married, you're preparing to be married, and you're single or you are intending, your heart needs to be in a place of service. And so I would always advise creating daily habits of reading your Bible and praying, but serving in your local church, in your local community, in your local ministry, serving under headship and understanding what submission looks like. Because for me, I was an independent girly, making our money. I just wanted to be a boss babe. I envisioned getting married. This is before I was saved. I envisioned getting married, but I also envisioned getting divorced. That's how warped my image was. So once I was in a church that was Bible believing, I had a personal relationship with God, and I began to serve in that community. I then understood what it looked like to serve under somebody and to submit under headship. And that ultimately led me to become actually more in tune with my femininity. And that ultimately is what led me to be able to submit into my marriage and my, part of my relationship with Deji. Not all the way, because of course he wasn't my husband, but part of it. So I'd always say create those healthy habits of reading your Bible, praying, and pray about the preparation as well. Pray, read, do the Bible studies. If you see books, read them. There's nothing wrong with creating a healthy desire for a relationship and for marriage. The issue is idolizing that desire and obsessing over it, and then becoming desperate for it, that you basically create a false counterfeit of love, which God hasn't intended. That's where, Solomon says, do not stir up love before it's time. We're not trying to do that. We're trying to create a healthy vision for marriage, which is what God has already said in his word. So I think, just to add on, have aspirations for yourself, just like kind of what Deji's speaking about, adding value to yourself. Have aspirations for yourself. Have that career that you desire to have. If you're looking to buy a house and you're a woman, buy that house. If that's what you want to do, or get that car, whatever it is, have aspirations for yourself and progress yourself towards something that is outside of your identity of being in a relationship. I think for a period in time, I became obsessed with wanting to be married, that I literally was like, the next person I date, this is going to be the one I marry. Pick one up. And it's absolutely a terrible choice. The next person I date, pick one up. Terrible choice. Don't make terrible choices out of a place of desperation. Make choices out of a place of wisdom, patience, and guidance from God and the Holy Spirit. And that's basically what I would say. And also prepare financially. If you want to be married, don't just be a bum waiting for a man to come and cover the cost. I love that. Not saying he won't, because he will. We would hope that he will. But be ready to give your contribution to because when me and Deji got together and he spoke about our house, when we first got together, I wasn't really in a great place financially. Like, I wasn't saving for anything. I had a bit of savings, but it wasn't anything. But as we grew, I knew, okay, he's gonna buy a house, I want to contribute. So I got my own contribution and said, listen, here you go, let's, let's add it together, let's do what we need to do. It wasn't that much, but it was enough. It was something. It was something, to put in. So I would say definitely become financially savvy. That is a great strength that we need to develop, I think, as women. And that's not to... It's to empower you, not to emasculate a man, but to empower you, so that you can have certain life experiences like traveling, buying the clothes you like, all of those things. You can have those experiences, you know what I mean, and not feel the need to rely on somebody else to do those things. So and that's it.
Fabulous. Thank you guys so much. I've really enjoyed, having you guys here, hearing about your experience. Thank you guys for the advice, and I pray that God will continue to bless your marriage.
Amen.
That it will continue to be blissful.
Amen.
And year after year after year after year, your marriage will glorify God.
Amen.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed today's episode, please subscribe and also stay connected with us on social media. Until next time, stay tuned for more glimpses behind the veil.